episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our exclusive multi-state cannabis operator sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top vertically integrated medical and wellness cannabis operators with 53 local dispensaries, 15 cultivation sites, and 24 processing facilities operating in 17 states. You can learn more about Curaleaf over at curaleaf.com with Curaleaf spelled Curaleaf. That's curaleaf.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020, and you're tuned in to episode 919 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We kick off the news day in California, but this storyline really applies everywhere. I'm happy to report that for the most part, everyone stayed home for this year's 420 festivities. Zach Harris over Mary Jane writes about the specific case of San Francisco's Hippie Hill, which has for decades drawn thousands and thousands of cannabis fans and consumers for first the protest for, then celebration of marijuana. But this year, due to the coronavirus pandemic, everyone was told to stay at home. Those orders were sensibly backed up by police patrols and fences, but from all reports, the crowds did not show up. That was smart of us all, and I'm proud of everyone. Great work. Stayed home. This thing is far from over. Stay at home. Obviously, if you can. Kyle Yeager picked up on news that keeps us out west as the California Bureau of Cannabis Control and the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development just announced the injection of $30 million in funding to support cannabis entrepreneurs from disproportionately affected communities. The money will be distributed to cities with existing programs and will mostly be given out as low and no interest loans. As Kyle is reporting, the cities getting the larger chunks include Oakland, which is receiving $6.5 million in funding, Los Angeles at $6 million, and San Francisco at $5 million. Pop over to Marijuana Moments for more on this. Our final top story of the day swings us up to Canada, where Marijuana Business Daily's Matt Lamers has a chart of the week showing the month-to-month growth of adult use sales in Canada, stretching back to October of 2018 when it first became legal. While it's hard to ascribe much significance to single monthly changes, the amount of legal adult use cannabis sold in February dipped slightly from January's number, with just under $150 million in sales for February against just over $154 million for the first month of the year. That came just ahead of global coronavirus pandemic closings. So again, I think it'll be more interesting to see how March and April sales track. This is another good one to read in full today. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 53 local dispensaries, 15 cultivation sites, and 24 processing facilities operating in 17 states. Curaleaf is proud to stand behind the good folks at the Veterans Cannabis Project, whose work is needed now more than ever. They're working to increase access to legal medical marijuana by military veteran patients. To learn more about how they are doing that and how you yourself can contribute to the effort, pop over to their website at vetscp.org, spelled VETSCP.org. Big thanks to everyone at Curaleaf for the support that helps us keep our news lights running and for being behind groups like the Veterans Cannabis Project. All right, time for the Blitz. Michigan Public Radio checks in on the overall health of their state's new legal marijuana industry, which has seen sales hold relatively steady during the pandemic closings, jumping to $5.7 million in sales in the week ahead of the statewide closure versus the current weekly level of around $4.5 million. It's hard to apply stories like this to the national scene and the industry in general, but I'm still taking this one as a bit of good news today. Another chart from Marijuana Business Daily, this time coming in from their sister publication Hemp Industry Daily, showing how things went in Illinois in 2019 for the state's new industrial hemp farmers. who managed to harvest nearly 75% of the crops they planted despite some issues with weather, pulling in nearly 2.3 million pounds of hemp. Today's chart shows the breakdown of what kind of hemp products came out of that 2.3 million pounds in terms of biomass, flour, seed, and stock. The bulk of it, in even 2/3, was harvested as hemp biomass against 27% flour. Another good one to read in full as there's helpful accompanying detail. With another chart from Marijuana Business Daily, because I guess it's just that kind of day, we have Alfredo Pascual tracking month-over-month sales in legal cannabis in the country of Uruguay, which first made adult use legal in the summer of 2017. The chart shows an early gradual rise followed by a sharper dip to a plateau of around 300 pounds per month that is held steady over the last 8 months or so. Uruguay's limited adult use sales industry is centered around a pharmacy model with cannabis sold at a fixed price of around $1.25 per gram. And as Alfredo is reporting, it's kind of hurting in terms of overall supply. If you have your eye on the international scene, this is another one I'd dive into fully. Zach Harris and Mary Jane has another story on the day with a somewhat lighter headline, about Nike's decision to hold off on releasing a special, stupidly expensive custom sneaker named Strawberry Cough to market off the annual 420 holiday. This has become something that Nike does, and this year they wisely pivoted their 420 shoe to a less topically named sneaker named Reverse Skunk. Better than Strawberry Cough. Open up Zach's story for a sneak on the sneaks. Kyle Yeager with another one, this time looking at the hopeful idea that activists in Washington state will be able to collect more than 255,000 signatures of support for a ballot measure to decriminalize all drugs while expanding funding for drug treatment. The ACLU of Washington, which is behind the measure, says they will reevaluate their chances on a week-to-week basis, but hope to be able to get out during the entire month of June to collect signatures. Color me skeptical here. I don't think anyone who doesn't want to get sick, who has a chance, will be going anywhere this summer. I hope I'm wrong. Deborah Borchardt over Green Market Report has a good story about a branding change as Colorado-based dispensary chain Medicine Man Technologies is changing its name to Schwayze. Medicine Man went on an acquisition tear last year after state law changed, allowing out-of-state money to invest into the industry. So it makes sense that they would take a more general direction with a new brand. Schwayze. And finally for today, we have the Canalog blog with a must-read story diving into great detail on some ridiculously complex corporate structures the lawyers over at Harris Bricken have seen in the legal marijuana industry. Mark this one up as a way to not do business and give it a read for the pure complex beauty of its revenue flowcharts. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Curaleaf, and to our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with Marijuana Today.
One take, Shay. One take.